Hello everyone, this is Cookies. I've got turn 3 of the second round of Lucid's tournament as part of game 2 out of the 10 round 2 games. And I did get a little bit of feedback, so I talked to Tlaloc, who's also playing in this game, and I talked a little bit to Drithel, and I don't think there's anything we can do about the map. It looks like the map had an accidental cave wall labeling for the Omniscience province. I'm a little bit surprised it even started, to be honest. But uh, as long as it's working, we'll go ahead and keep going. We're just not going to have graphs for this game. Until maybe, well, when the end of the game happens, there should be graphs for the game. And then also, if there's if somebody puts up Eyes of God, maybe I can get those graphs to share, but we'll see if they feel like sharing them. It'll depend maybe a little bit on the player. All right. So we've got two messages this turn. The first one's from Agartha. I don't know if this is getting recorded or not, but I'll keep up with some messages just in case. I won't go into extensive detail on my long-term plans. That's a good idea. Although I don't know that I'll be doing a 30 turn window. I guess to read the rest until a bit later to keep up with the 30 turn window. I'll probably only release these at the end of the game, but we'll see. I'll maybe ask some of the other folks that are doing castings. I think we should have castings for all of the games, hopefully, except for game 7, maybe. So we'll have to see what happens there. But suffice to say, you can already see the Dracolich expanding into my second cap province. I'm going for a big expansion, big scales build. There are a lot of provinces on the map, and with Map Nuke, there's a lot of money. So I expect to hit about 4K income by the end of expansion. About the 4K income, Lucid did handcraft these maps. So, and I believe that includes all the different provinces on the map. So I don't know if that'll mean it'll have similar income levels to what Map Nuke generates. But yeah, Lucid put in a shit ton of work. I think he was telling me about 20 hours worth of work crafting all these maps. He's pretty exhausted by it. So, big thank you to him for trying to create, as far as I could tell, the most even games possible for this second round. All right, let's see. I'll be spamming infrastructure and troops and rush someone with a big stack fast. Mostly relying on the national tools to carry me through the mid-late game. There are more than a few options. And then from TNG, hello cookies. Well, it was very unfortunate that my pretender routed, but it could have gone worse. That was a lot of heavy cavalry. The Archer bait squad worked as intended to prevent a total surround, but he lost enough HP with the Archers routing to trigger an HP rout. And we did see that. They definitely did a great job taking lance charges, but he also HP routed. I think the good news is that most of the horses routed, so I should be able to take it with what is left in my starting army. All right, so he's not going to send the Pretender there again. He's going to send his starting army. Either way, it should be doable enough. I don't know. I think there were a number of dismounted heavy cavalry. And I don't know if they'll get their mounts back, but I anticipate we'll find out shortly. So in Hyperboach, we've got a scout ping from Agartha. So we've got a whole complement of heavy cavalry and crossbows. Yeah, 18 protection heavy cavalry, no less. Pretty spooky. In Esquania, gosh, Satis troops really do suck. Alright, so we're relying mainly on the Satis Prophet and these light infantry with javelins to try and rout the barbarians. And then they're also going to be relying on their spears to repel. I think it would have been good to have a few of the slingers. We'll see if this works. I'm worried. Although he does have a few of these halberders who are, it looks like a new heavy protection, 23 damage, Citis heavy infantry with 11 attack. These look excellent. I don't know that I've seen these yet, because I haven't played Citis since some of the new units came out. I haven't really played MA either, but I mean they should do all right. Maybe that'll be enough, actually. I got good contact along the front line with them. One squad routed. Yeah, I think those heavy infantry are clutch. Most of them died, but they did a phenomenal job. Alright. So, what did Citis lose? So he lost 4 of the 6 halberders. The light infantry did perform pretty well, because they got those javelins, and they can repel. City guards, yeah, they really suck at fighting. They they tended to just die in droves. Their shield may not have been enough. So was that like 28 protection on a shield hit? I think sometimes barbarians will hit through that, although it's somewhat unlikely. But yeah, nevertheless, Prophet picked up 3 kills as well. Does win the province, which is the most important thing. With Namor, we've got the Return of the Cat going up against just tons of infantry. Personal Region, Twist Fate, Gift of the Hair, in case he needs to run. What's the fatigue at? 24, not too bad. As a reminder, here's the Bless, a natural protection and an aging, so this cat actually has 21 protection. A lot more than normal. Certainly not invulnerable, though. You can see those heavy infantry chunking through them a bit. Alright. So, takes that with the Pretender. Then in Durland. Oh, we've got Toxic Masculinity, the Thrice-Horned Boar. So, Air Shield. Are you in Dominion? You are Chakras, Natural Protection, and Mountain Survival. So up at 24 protection with the Earth Magic bonus. I think this is a similar build to what Kosk ran in the LA Citis game. I don't remember the paths, but I'm pretty sure. Was it a bull or was it a boar? I think it was a boar. I'd have to go back and check though. So, as a reminder, this guy's got pretty basic encumbrance, so not fatiguing out too quickly. Alright. So, the boar goes ahead and picks up a province. Agartha goes after Uliathum. Is this the Dracolich? It is. Should be able to deal with this. Not in Dominion again, though. So, does make it a little bit more risky, but we don't know what the bless is. I would think there's a bless though. Alright, so the fear takes effect very quickly on these independents, and they flee. So a lot of expanders right now. We get to see our first Atlantean expansion. Or no. No, this is the second time. This dragon almost died last turn, if I remember right. We got some flying shards. Artillery. Okay, and that was the Dragon Bile Breath. There we go. I can't imagine these infantry want to hang around much longer. Okay. So let's go ahead and see here. So that was successful. That was successful. So we have Dracolich, a dragon, a lot of expanders here. Tianchi pinging this province. Not too many heavy infantry. Doesn't look too bad. Goes after Ultima Tifia. There, I guess also pings that. Also doesn't... Ooh. Finds the infamous Cloud Mage PD. This guy's got a sort of sharpness as well. So it could be a little bit tricky. A bunch of air gems on these guys. They could also do a little bit of mist form, which could be tricky to deal with. But the opportunity for loot is there. In Dardius, we've got Cetis. Oh gosh. So we've got two black dragons. Alright. I think it was the Cetis one that almost died. I could be wrong though. I'd have to go back and rewatch. A lot of expanders though. Takes out the leadership. Alright. Then we've got Pyrene. We've got a couple of their goat sacreds. We'll see if we can catch the bless for them. A very traditional cavalry bless. We've got Undying with Enchanted Blood, a little bit of heroism, some strength to help. For two reasons. One, to get out of like entrapment spells like Web and was it the... I'm forgetting the Earth Entangle spell, but yeah, to get out of stuff like that, and then also for a heavier lance hit to punch through heavy armor or high protection stuff. And then we've got a couple of resists to enable a couple of different traps or to protect against a couple of traps. So we've got shock and poison resist. That gives them shock resistance 5, poison resistance 5, so they've got, I think, apparently 10 fire resist. So they've got a little bit of coverage for all the resists. What that enables is when Pyrene gets to 8, they can throw up all the traditional fend spells and get pretty good coverage. And when they run up blood, they'll be able to get to poison res 15. I think the only thing they'd be somewhat vulnerable to at that point is very heavy lightning attacks. So Wrathful Skies would probably maybe still do a little bit of damage, but overall, very good bless. They're not invincible in melee, as you're seeing here. They definitely had a few hits land, but they will do plenty good enough. Alright, so it loses 1 crossbow. And we've got Patala going after their farm. We've got a whole bunch of monkey infantry. Decent protection at 14. I say decent for monkeys. And then they've also got a mace for 16 damage. They've got a couple of Sacred Naga warriors. A little bit of an army thug, it looks like, with stone skin. And then Divine Blessing. Nonetheless, here is Shock Res 10, Fire Res 5, penetration bonus, because Patala has really solid communions, and larger. So, also helps protect against traps a little bit, and also might enable some stuff, maybe some surprises of their own. Over here, we've got the Chakram Throwers. The 14 damage chakra. Looks like the range scales with strength, which is pretty nice. And I think the damage also scales with strength. So yeah. So they take strength buffs extremely well. Alright. So it does take a fair amount of attrition, but I mean, does take the farm as well. Loses 2 Naga Warriors. That does suck. Ideally, you wouldn't lose those. But considering they didn't take an expander, I think you have to take what you can get a little bit there with Scales troops into crossbows. We've got a bunch of long spears for man. So this is our first Scales troop expansion. Longbows going after the archers, and then the long spears trying to line up against the enemy infantry. And they're going to meet around the same time as a couple of knights. They fill in nicely. So, loses 11 on the long spears. Might want to rotate around the capital to get more for the next expansion. Next up is Florian with Marignan, or attacking Florian is Marignan. And then we've got some Royal Guard here. Madame Fortuna. So she's already got a Pendant of Luck and some pearls. So curious to see what she does. We're going up against a mixed grab bag of humans. Alright, so we're doing Gift of Cheated Fate. Slinger's route. Enemy infantry route, though, so Marignan takes it. Loses 6 city guard, 5 pikeneers, and 3 slingers. They might still have enough to keep going, though, if they wanted to strike out. With Kafir, we've got another Pyrene. Nope, we've got a ping. So it looks like a pretty normal province. With Atlantis, we've got Midland. Let's see, so we've got 2 types of infantry, it looks like. Maybe, no, 3. So we've got a few Ice Guard out in front, 20 protection, 24 damage, Ice Glaive, decent attack, very tanky troops. And then we've got a number of Snow Warriors, a little less tanky, still have ice armor, and an ice spear, so magic weapon. These guys also have a magic weapon. And then we have a bunch of seal hunters with snow spears. These are a little bit more fodder troops to fill out the line. So he's got strong edges here with this particular line, probably due to how he recruited the units. And then he's got a little group of elites out in front, including a few Arsatutes, who are sacred with big bone glaives. Let's see, that have a weakness effect. Alright. Ooh, but they are going to eat a lance charge. The Sacreds don't like it. Let's see, did we get blessed? We did not. Where's the commander? Oh, it's just a snow captain. Okay. So, not a bless worth bringing along, I guess, but does recruit a few of the sacreds. A little bit sad for the Ice Guard. They eat those lance charges, they're fighting well, and then everyone behind them runs away and leaves them for dead. Alright. So we have our first Scales troop expansion fail. We've had a couple of pretenders have very close calls. This one, 31 casualties, probably lost a couple on the route. Only kills half the heavy cavalry. Definitely bad news for Atlantis. Then we've got Marignan. The Virtue is out again. So Mistform Air Shield Charge Body. Very strong awe effect. Okay. So the Virtue is victorious. So I think that's pretty good expansion for Marignan. And we've got Calum up next. Just a big block of birds. The Prophet is way off to the side, though. We have a bunch of commanders in the back. Archers are focused on the troops. One less commander to get. This might be our second failure. Oh, they do get him. But, yeah, they've taken too much attrition. The Storm Captain might... I think it's Storm General, sorry. Might end up finishing this off, though. Alright. So it's a success, but at the cost of nearly all the troops. It was very close. Actually, only lost 20. Some of them might have retreated successfully, but he'll want to relocate the Prophet. Coast Haven. We've got Tianchi. We've got a few of the Ancestor vessels. We'll have to see what their bless is. I forgot to look at the Calum bless as well. Natural protection again and unaging. A lot of natural protection in this game. This one's getting surrounded. But they do end up surviving. Okay. Really quick, let's go check. No, it was Calum that I wanted to check. That's right, where the Prophet was. Death weapons and poison resistance. Okay. And then we've got Tianchi. Oh, wait, we just watched that. And we have Agartha. Ooh, Cave Knights. Very tanky, backed up by Agarthan infantry, which are reasonably tanky. Backed up by Agarthan light infantry, who are much faster. And they're back deployed. I feel like the light infantry are going to run in first and get hit a bunch, and then the other stuff is going to meet up, but maybe they'll meet at the same time. Hopefully he's done expansion testing. Oh, yeah, looks like they have. Perfect. That was well done. I was worried. Big banishments. Should be fine now. Don't care about losing a couple of light infantry down there, that's fine. Alright. Okay, so aside from this bugged thing, let's go take a look at the map. So we've got Tianchi at 3, Calum at 2, Marignan at 4, Patala's on 2, Atlantis is on 2. Okay, so they bounced off Midland, but the Dragon won. Gartha's on 3, and they've gotten out to the middle, which is excellent for them. So, establishing a border. Then we've got Pyrene on 2. I guess, is it Man is on 3. Calum, Sitis on 3. And I think we've looked at all of them. Let's see. So if you're Atlantis, you might want to... Oh no. All right. So I think this could end up being significant. So we've got frozen lands here, which increases cold scales. And what that'll do is I believe these cold scales will spread as well. And so we've got Atlantis who can sail. So they've already got a little bit of a geographic advantage here. Here, maybe I can pull up the units that can do that. Yeah, so we've got the big guys can sail. Is it just them? Okay, so... yeah, so these guys can sail. So Atlantis can just go from here to Copperwoods or Esquania all the way to Sitis's cap circle. But Sitis has to walk all the way around in a very predictable fashion to get to Atlantis. Not only that, but a lot of Atlantis' troops rely on ice protection, and so these frozen lands are going to spread cold scales throughout this region. Sitis is also cold-blooded, so not only does Sitis have a disadvantage fighting in this border region, but Atlantis is going to have an advantage. So this could be fairly spooky for Sitis trying to defend themselves initially. Now, they'll still have a lot of heat in their capital, but having Atlantis just kind of like roaming inside their cap circle would be pretty devastating. So, but we'll see what ends up playing out between these two. Yeah, I think that's most of it. Nothing else too crazy happening just yet. It's only turn 3. We've already been going almost 30 minutes, so I'll go ahead and stop it now. Have a good one, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.